So, back to the technology show.
It is the technology show where we translate geek into regular speak. I'm Brett Levy. I'm your host this week. So, a very interesting show. It's been a while since I've done one without a guest, so I'm actually I'm quite excited about the fact that I'm going to get to spend a little bit more time on the actual things with a Z review. And believe me, when you see what I have today, you're going to understand why I need to spend some more time. So let's get straight into it. Um, you may not have heard of the brand OXS, but after I share with you today, if you're a gamer, you do need to check out this brand. P.S. If you're not a gamer but you consume content on your desktop, you also need to check out OXS. Okay, if you like sound and have something that plays sound, then you need to check out OXS. I think you kind of get the picture, right? So you need to check out OXS. So let's get into let's bring up the slides. Where they not giving me fun today. There we go. This is the OXS, and more specific, this is the Thunder Pro Plus. Now, if you're watching the show, you're going to see a really cool piece of tech, but don't worry, I'm going to describe it for those of you that are listening. Let me just get my mouse. I've changed my mouse configuration a bit, so things are all over the place, but it's okay. I'll get used to it. Okay, so this is so much more than a speaker system. It's a sound appreciation system. I don't know if that word is patented. If it isn't, then there we go. OXS, you can have that for free. I'm I'm trying really hard to keep the show clean, and honestly, it's too much of a pain to have to tick the not safe for kids or contains explicit button every time you upload. But duck me. I've never experienced something like this before. So when you game without a headset, it's pretty monotonous. You've got speakers that are aiming straight at you, right? With the the OXS Thunder Pro Plus, I'm going to try again to the proper name here. Um, there are so many different sound configurations. So first of all, I was playing CS2, Counter-Strike 2, and when you're playing, every millisecond counts. And this is not just about the sound; it's about getting that competitive edge. So let's first talk about the hardware. This isn't your mommy or daddy soundbar. This is a certified 7.1.2 channel Dolby Atmos beast. What does that mean? Well, we translate geek into regular speak. So the 7.1 is your traditional surround sound, but it's the dot 2 that is where the magic happens on the OXS Thunder Pro. It's got these two little special, they call them sky channels. So for people that are not watching the show, you can't see the picture. But if you picture your normal sound bar, right, the sky channels sit right in the middle along the top of the bar and they're aiming up. So these are speakers. And what they do is they just fire sound upwards. Now, when it goes up, it hits the roof. All the sound like bounces off the ceiling. It creates this overhead soundscape. I don't really know how to describe sound. You got to like feel or hear sound. But you literally hear a helicopter flying overhead, or if a smoke grenade is landing near you, a Molotov cocktail. I'm talking about game references from CS2. If it's just there, like you hear it coming over your head. But this is not where the real magic comes in. I mean, this is pretty special. Where it really, really gets going is, I'm going to call it the secret weapon. This is the world's first wireless satellite neck speaker. Again, if you're not watching the show, if you picture the little detachable head speaker, listen to me, head speaker, the cushion that you get on your gaming chairs, a lot of them are detachable. They either have a rope that goes around and holds it, or if you use Secret Labs, it's magnetic. So picture that. So you've got this little head pillow that now clips onto your chair. This one actually uses a clip. So even if you don't have magnetism, or you already have like a little bump there, it goes around. But what it does, and I must just say, I read it out like it's the world's first wireless satellite neck speaker. I love reviewing world first stuff. Like that's the stuff that floats my boat. So when someone says to me that, oh, we've got this and it's a world first, I'm like, you had me. But this thing is an absolute game changer. It's not just a pillow. So besides the fact that you have comfort on your head, and let's be honest, if you're playing a game like Counter-Strike, you're pretty much not leaning back and catching a bit of shut-eye. But there are two precision-tuned drivers built right into it on the side. So if you picture the side of the pillow, there's two speakers aiming out. Okay. And the soundbar handles the front and the overhead channels that I described using the Sky channels. And the soundbar, as I said, has got 8 speakers. There's 2 on the top and 2 on the sides and 2 facing you, and there's just 2 everywhere. And then you've got these other 2. So it's 10 in total. But the next speaker puts 2 rear channels right above your shoulders. So you'll feel every footstep behind you, every distant gunshot. There's an insane level of precision and zero latency. That was the one thing I was worried about when I heard the word wireless. There is zero latency, and I'll explain why a little bit later on and how it all connects up. But it's having a full surround system without any wires or any speakers cluttering up your room. Now, I know some people might say, yeah, but you can put speakers in each corner, and you can put your speakers in the front, you can put a subwoofer. Of course you can, and that is what we're doing up until now. Personally, if I game, I would prefer to wear a headset for the exact reason that you are immersed and you hear everything. I don't like forward-facing speakers. I find them a bit overpowering. This is where the whole Thunder Pro system comes into it. So and I'm about to explain it. So there's actually 3 distinct game modes built into it. There's FPS, so made for shooting. What that does, it will amplify like your critical sounds, cues like footsteps. You can actually hear the footsteps coming through. RAC mode, which is racing. This is like the thrill of racing and all the skids, the brakes, the engine revs, like when you go around a corner too fast and your wheels squeak. It's that kind of stuff. And then the last one was MOBA. So when you're playing like League of Legends or any of the big MOBAs, I suppose, massively online battle arena. For those that don't know what MOBA is, but what the MOBA game mode does is it actually enhances all the team communication. So generally, when you're playing those games, it's critical to be able to engage with your team players, and that's why a lot of preference is actually on headsets. You don't have to worry about that. You can still hear. It's as if when you turn it into that mode, dedicated channels within the sound bar are dedicated to speaking, to audio. So you can hear your team comms. There's absolutely no issue at all. You can also set these using the remote. It comes with a remote, like a little handheld remote, or via the app. Now, the app also allows you to control the RGB lights. Yes, there are RGB lights. I mean, no decent gaming equipment would not have RGB, right? But you can control the colors, and you can also sync them into the game for like an absolutely stunning light show. So I don't know what it does or how it works. I mean, that's obviously the technical part of it, but depending on what's going on your screen, there's a bit of screen capture, and then the lights kind of match up to it as well. So there was a comment that came through. Yeah, I lost it. If I can get back there, I'll have a look. Anyway, so the RGB lighting, you can set the RGB lighting. That was a question. Are the RGB lights automatic? They are automatic, but you can set them. So if you prefer green or red or blue, go for it. But I personally like green. I just do. And I actually find a lot of light movement distracting. Yet with this experience, it's more about the amplification. I was trying to think before I did the show and when I was preparing for today, there was a TV brand. I'm going to say Philips. I stand corrected and I apologize if I've got it wrong. But they had a thing I think called Hue, and there were like these lights behind the TV that amplified and reflected off the wall. Well, that's what these lights do. The same kind of thing. They kind of color coordinate, and depending on what's going on the screen, the lights are just very complementary. It lights up the whole area. So yeah, it actually visually enhances the experience further, if that makes sense. Then you can also activate and control a lot of these via the remote, or I mentioned the remote, sorry, the toggle. I've got a picture up on the screen now, but if you're listening to the show, The toggle is exactly what you would think it is, a little round device. It is wired. It wires straight back into the back of the speaker or soundbar, but it's got this rotating dial on it that you can use for volume up, volume down. You can use it to rotate through the different settings. You can click it. So there's different functions that are set with the toggle, but it's seamless. Like if you want to switch between your EQ modes, you just click it between the EQ modes as well. So it was really, really super cool. And when I first took out the box, I was like, oh, I'm not going to use this. Where the toggle comes into is actually quite nice if you're watching content, as opposed to just gaming. When you change games, you click it once. But if you're actually watching content and the content changes, or it goes a lot more audio as opposed to graphics or sound centric, if there's a lot of speaking going on, you might want to change into like MOBA, for example, because that has a dedicated channel to audio, to voice. So yeah, that sits, and it sits nicely on the desk, and it also glows as well. So that's pretty cool. And it does sync with other glows. So if you set it to red or set it to green, that's the color it is. Now, it's not just for CS2, okay? I played CS2 as the game, but you can watch in movies. And I've just started talking about movies. Like when you're watching, you actually sitting there especially with the headset speaker as well, you actually feel the explosions around you. It's like if there's a blast that's going on or gunshots that are going on, they're like right there by your ear. Your chair doesn't vibrate. It's not haptic. It doesn't have haptic feedback. So if that's what you think I'm describing, it's not that. And you actually do get haptic sets that you can add to your chair as well. But that's not what this does. This is just about immersing you in the sound. You have true surround sound. The I've lost my train of thought. The whole system, so from the soundbar to the next speaker, has 10 drivers. So you've got 10 speakers, as I said. There's 2 that come at the sides, 2 that are forward facing. I think there's actually 4 that are upward facing, and then you've got your 2 on your headset as well. And I think the easiest way, if not surround sound, then definitely 3D sound. You get this absolutely 3D immersive soundscape. It is beautiful sound. A comment's come through about, is it loud? No. So that's the simplest way of answering that. There are sound bars out there that come with paired subwoofers that are definitely louder than what the OXS Thunder Pro does. But this wasn't about loud. This was about accuracy, and this is about immersion. When you're playing a game, you don't necessarily need, and you don't set your headset to loud. You set it to, you want to hear footsteps. You want to hear gun clicks and things like that. So the soundbar focuses more about the sound that you're hearing, and it puts you into the sound. So I hope that answered. It's not quiet. It definitely packs a punch. You're not going to be disappointed by the volume that you get to, and both watching movies as well. Listening to music, watching movies, the sound is definitely capable. In fact, if you go to the website and look there as well, even if you're not a gamer, and I did mention at the beginning, to use this as a sound bar for a normal television, you wouldn't be disappointed either. And the fact that you could then connect a phone or connect a PS or Xbox, whatever your gaming console choices, or even a PC. I've got a Mac Mini downstairs with the TV. If I wanted to take the soundbar down, then connect and game via the Mac Mini, I would have that same type of sound. The only thing is, I don't know where you would put the satellite chair speaker, the head speaker. That being said, the unit that I reviewed is the Thunder Pro Plus, right? You can get just the Thunder Pro, which is just the sound bar. So you don't have to have the satellite neck speaker. That comes with the Plus. Obviously, there's advantages to it, and there's certain things that won't work without it. I'm very thankful that I had it. But what I was getting to is that if you turn this into a normal TV soundbar, I had ideas of using this in my bedroom under that TV. There's no soundbar in the bedroom. But what would I do with the speaker, the satellite speaker? So all that you would be losing would be the sound that would be sitting here at your head, like, next to your ears or just below your ears. But the soundbar still, and I did review it with and without. It's very capable without, but it's super fun with. Um, Kylie's just popped up a thing. You have all, what's she say? You have all the best tech apart from the Mac. Oh gosh, I can't even believe I put that up on air. Let's just hide that post straight away. The best tech drives the best tech, which is Mac, Kylie. Anywho, moving swiftly along. Um, then the connections, because this is obviously quite important as well. So from a connection point of view, you have every damn connection you could possibly want. I have put it up a picture of the back of the soundbar, but for those of you that are listening and not watching, I'll read it for you. You've got DC in, aux in, headset in, or headset rather, that would be in and out. Mic in. You've got controller, which is if you were going to use a control device like the toggle. Link is a little button that links in and to the satellite net head speaker. So let's talk about that for a second because there's a USB-A. When you buy the neck speaker, I don't know, I'm battling with that word today. It comes with a little dongle in it, a little USB-A dongle. That goes into the USB-A on the back, and you push the link button. On the front, it actually displays the word link, so it communicates with you as to what you're doing, and then it connects wirelessly. There's a little button on the neck speaker as well. You push that, and it connects. So it's seamless, and that's why I said to you earlier. I'll discuss the fact that there's no lag. It's not using a Bluetooth protocol. It's using a dedicated channel to speak to the soundbar. So there is no lag. Carrying on, there's a USB-C, there's HDMI in, and HDMI eARC. And eARC is some of the TV protocols use that. So every possible configuration that you would need to connect to PC, console, TV, with or without hassle. There's Bluetooth as well. So not only can you connect your device to Bluetooth, so if you wanted to like maybe amplify the sound in your Kylie, Mac, or connect your iPhone. Yes, you can connect your Android as well, and just play music through it. You can. Some TVs have Bluetooth protocols. You can connect it via Bluetooth if you didn't want to do the wiring thing. I do have to point out though that if you want this full experience that I was talking about, the Atmos experience, you do have to use the HDMI connectivity. So Bluetooth won't work for that, and USB-C in or USB-A in. Can you connect an USB-A? Or possibly, I don't know. I don't use USB-A that much. So yeah, that basically shows the connectivity. This is the ultimate audio upgrade for any gamer who wants to just not play games, but like experience the game or be immersed into the game. And more importantly, myself included, most people spend a lot of time at their computers. If you're not gaming, then you're working on the machine. It's quality sound. As I said to you earlier, it might not be super loud and as loud as you can get, and there are loud speakers out there. This is about quality. You will not be disappointed with the audio. Um, to finish off the review, I wanted to make mention that when you game with a really good pair of headsets, I actually see that OXS makes headsets too. So hopefully I can get to take those for a drive someday too. And that probably also explains why there's a headset port into the back, because once you've wired this all up, then just using the toggle, you'd be able to switch between headset or whatever other audio devices you have, or obviously OXS's soundbar. But when you use a headset, you have an immersed experience, right? And I said that at the beginning of the show. So this is not what the Thunder Pro Plus is trying to compete with, but rather more the traditional speakers. When they forward facing, you just get that experience of volume or sound, but you don't get the surround sound unless you've got two satellites behind you. But if you're not experiencing the volume of sound, um, you're not getting that surround, right? So the Thunder Pro does change that. For those not wanting to sit with a headset on, I find that, after a while your head gets a little bit tired from sitting with a headset on. And again, you get comfortable and you get uncomfortable. I don't like earbuds for a long period of time. But if you want to still be immersed without having to sit there with a headset on, this is a pretty damn good option. There is only one problem with this setup, and it's not what you're thinking. The problem is that I installed this in Cade's room, and now I know I'm not getting it back. In fact, I put a picture up of his of the installation in the room. I'm just looking, the wiring's a little bit messy, but forgive me. But it's actually, if you're watching the show, it's actually quite a cool pic because I've taken it from behind the seat. So you can see a little satellite speaker on the next speaker. And then there's the soundbar in front of you. But yeah, I know I'm not getting it back. But then again, if I game, I generally do game on his rig. So I suppose it's fair that I share it with him. Anyway, so yeah, that takes us to the end of Things with a Z. I hope you enjoyed it. It really was super fun playing. I can honestly say that I've never experienced something like that. Well, it was a world first, right? The satellite neck speaker. You know, it oh, it was just awesome. Oh, I did leave that off. You can control the volume of the headset part, the neck speaker part separately. So if you don't want it loud in your head, or equally if you do want it louder by your head, you can actually control that independently of the soundbar. That's pretty cool. So it's got its dedicated channel control there as well. Right, moving on to tech news. What have we got first? So I mentioned AI. The site that I've put up is AI wants to, or AI, not AI, sorry, Perplexity has made a bid for 34.5 billion US for Google's Chrome browser. Now, I mentioned a little while ago, I think I just shared on LinkedIn that I was invited to take Perplexity's browser called Comet for a spin. It is pretty good. It acts as a bit of an assistant, still a way to go. Um, I'm not upset with it. It brought all my Chrome bookmarks and that across. It integrates really nicely with Google. So it is an enhancement to the browsing experience, and the fact that when you type something, it brings up different things. It brings up the website. It brings up ancillary information. So Comet is cool, and I think for the first stab at an AI browser, it's good. I don't know if I'm using it to its full capability. It might be that I'm also not prepared to give it the keys to the kingdom just yet. But the bid, going back to the bid, so the bid was all cash, which I'm actually not sure how they would pay for it. If given their current valuation, I think is like 8 billion or maybe even $18 billion. But then again, I mean, it was a cash bid for 34.5 billion. But then Silicon Valley, right? It's all about funny numbers, and you'll probably find that someone would write the check anyway if it was successful. The bid was unsolicited, but it does kind of make sense given the anti-competitive landscape that Alphabet, which is Google's parent company, is facing with their browser dominance. There's been a few articles about the fact that Google or Alphabet might be forced to sell Chrome. So I think maybe Perplexity were just trying to get a little bit of exposure. Hey, and good luck to them by making the bid. It would be interesting to see what would happen if Google turned around and accepted the bid. I'm sure that if any, Google will fight the anti-competitiveness and say, hey, this is our engine, this is what we do. So yeah, basically that's it. What else have we got? The Australian government has fast-tracked drone and counter-drone tech. So the ADF is going to get defense capabilities, and they've had a budget of nearly $17 million funded for this program. They're being, well, the $17 million, I think it was 16.9 to be exact, is set to deliver more than 120 advanced threat detection systems and drone defeating technologies. The rapid contract rollout demonstrates that the government is obviously committed to protecting Australian military personnel. Now, I've always said that the next war is going to be fought with drones. We're seeing that in Ukraine and Russia. I think the days are, I wouldn't say they're gone. I mean, it's still happening, but, countries putting young people on the ground, boots on the ground as such, that will always be the case, I think, from a presence or show of strength. But when it comes down to actual warfare, drones make a lot more sense. They're disposable. You can get rid of them, if they go. So, yeah, nearly $17 million being spent on drones. It shows that we're quite serious about it as a country. iOS 26 Beta 6 is out, and there's a lot of excitement about the update, but probably not for the reason that you would be thinking. It's actually the default ringtone called Little Bird. There's quite a few people that are showing this and saying, this is the next big catchy banging tune. Can't wait to hear remixes of it. I remember when Nokia had a Nokia had their ringtone first came out, they turned into a mix. I think Motorola did the same thing with Hello Moto. Half the people listening to the show probably don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'll share the link afterwards on YouTube for Little Bird, but it's quite a funky little. It's quite a funky little track. And then the big one, like they say, save the best for last. So, Made by Google launch is tomorrow. Well, I think it's actually today. No, it's today, the 20th. It's tomorrow for us. It'll be like today sometime, which will be early hours of the morning tomorrow. And as you know, I mean, I'm a big Pixel fan. I game on a Pixel. I have done since Pixel 5 or 6. So looking forward to reviewing the shiny new toys in the next few weeks. Google, Google does. There are a couple of leaks that happen on all technology, but Google's quite strict when it comes to embargoes when they do share their shiny toys with us. As a journalist and someone that reports on tech and respects tech and obviously the brands, I won't leak it. I've already got people saying, "Oh, have you heard anything from Google?" The answer is no, and it will be no until I share it, and it's just that's what it is. So you can ask me, you can phone me, you can text me, you can WhatsApp me, you can do anything. I'm not gonna talk about it. I said that I respect embargoes. They're there for a reason. I can say though that if you are into technology and you feel like getting up early tomorrow morning, or you don't have to wait, and you will be able to find on YouTube. You're going to get to see what's coming out. There's some really cool tech that's going to be coming out, and as I said, over the next few weeks, I will do in-depth reviews of it, like I always do. Like I did 9 and 8 and 7 before, and I think 6 as well. So yeah, there will be some Google shows coming up soon. And that takes us to the end of tech news. Are you game? Well, I did play CS2. Like often I go, oh, I didn't get time to play. I have been watching a lot of the esports open in Saudi Arabia. It's always the 8 weeks of tournaments. Each year just gets better. The talent is getting better and better. It's awesome. It's really cool to be involved in the gaming industry. But yeah, the whole reason I chose to actually play one of the PC games and specifically CS2 was to test out the modes and the EQ modes that come with the OXS Thunder Pro. So that was it. Pretty much all I could say on Are You Game. I'm not going to go into game review on CS2. It's not new, and I think I've actually have mentioned the first time I played it. So where did that leave us? Q&A. Is there any questions that are here that are actually worth bringing up? Yeah, here we go. Hey Brett, should I get a flip phone? Yeah, I don't know. So, well, okay. Well, I'm going yeah, but I'm also going no. Okay, let's unpack this. Should I get a flip phone? It's a good question, and I'm going to answer it basing on. I think the answer would vary, sorry, depending on who you ask. So as I'm being asked, I'm going to give you my opinion, and now that I think about it, I'm going to say probably not. I think I just also want to clarify for people listening, a flip phone is not a fold phone. I'm a huge fan of the fold phone. The flip phone is the little phone that flips. Think Motorola Razr, Hello Moto, or any of those type of phones. So why do I say probably not? Okay, I can only think of two good use cases for a flip phone off the top of my head. One, if you need a smaller phone. So like maybe if you've got like a little handbag or purse, and I'm specifically talking about females, going out at night, maybe you're taking one of those like little purses with you, little handbags, and a non-foldable phone is big, then a flip phone makes sense. It folds up, it goes in, and when you unflip it, you have a full screen phone. That's cool, okay? Or maybe if you're a dude and or a girl and you've got really, really small pockets on every single pair of pants that you own, then yes, a flip phone makes sense. Secondly, if you want to film a selfie, then that's probably another good reason to get a flip phone. Only for the reasons that you can actually fold it to a 90 degrees. So think TikTok, right? You see all these people all over the city, especially the young girls. They got their phones balancing up on the wall, and they're doing the dance, and off they go, right? The flip phone you could put on a table. Even what I'm doing with the show, I'm looking straight at a camera now. I'm talking to you. I could use a flip phone and use the camera from the flip phone because it sits up at a 90-degree angle. So that would be a second reason you might want to consider it if you're doing a lot of video calling, or a lot of like TikTok video production off your phone. Yes. However, lower battery life, I'm going to assume, due to the extra screen. So the flip phone has a small screen on the outside when the phone's closed, so you can see numbers and notifications and things like that. So I'm going to guess that the battery drains more. Arguably, there might be a bigger battery in there, but it is going to drain more. Okay. And the other thing, and this is why I wanted to point out as well, the difference between a fold and a flip. When you open the phone and you now have the equivalent of a full-sized phone, a 6.3 or 6.8-inch normal phone, you have that line, the fold line, right across the middle of your phone going horizontally. That's a pain. When you're scrolling, you're going to feel that fold. And believe me, it is probably going to bug you. That's always been a thing I've said about folds and flips, is that line, and what does it look like over time? Over time, I have been proven wrong. Looking at some of the original Samsungs even, that crease is not that bad. And as I said earlier, I've got the Pixel Fold 9 or Pixel 9 Fold Pro. But when you open it, the line is vertical and the screen's massive. And if you split the screen or you're scrolling, you can scroll left or right of that crease, and you're not going to feel it. It's not going to be there. It's not going to be in your way. What's also nice is if you split, which I do when I use the Fold, I split the screen in two down the middle. So I'm working on two different screens at the same time as if I have two phones. The Fold doesn't even come into it. So I don't know if that I don't know if that answers the question. I think the last thing I want to probably point out as well is the Fold, or the Flip, sorry, the flip phone will be more expensive than the same spec phone. So in other words, if you bought a normal 6.3-inch with 128 gigs and 12 gigs of RAM and blah, 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 you would pay less for a non-flip phone or non-fold phone. So bear that in mind as well. I think it's got to be use specific. So hopefully that answered it. Well, if that's a Q&A done, I got a thumbs up from someone there, Gary. Hey, Gary, it's early over there, mate. 6:32 in the morning. So yeah, if that answers it, that's the end of Q&A. That means we get to the end. So until next time, keep your screens clean and your knobs shiny.